Hello everyone and welcome to today's cryptocurrencies update for March 16, 2022. Unfortunately, the snoozer market environment continues, meaning most cryptocurrencies are still stuck between a rock and a hard place, going sideways. So let's just simply review where we are on the shorter time frame, because it never hurts to do a little bit of a commercial. The power of commercials is the repetitive nature. So here we have Avalanche. Avalanche did break down below the uptrend line that, in my humble opinion, it needed to hold, with now the potential of reaching 45. It obviously needs to break back inside this triangle. There are always options for false breakouts and breakdowns, just like we had here in mid-February. This is a false breakout. Are we going to get the false breakdown? It certainly can happen, but please remember we're below all the moving averages and the cloud, so Avalanche is still weak. I really need to see Avalanche go back above these moving averages and back above the cloud, break above 90, and then it can target 110 to 128. Until then, it is weak. Very simple. Binance Coin is also still stuck between a rock and a hard place. Look at this, all of 2022, pretty much actually, well, let's be more accurate, since the middle of January till the middle of March, that is now exactly 2 months, this puppy has been going sideways, stuck between 360 and 430. That's really all there is to it. We can go left, right, up, down, but whatever we're going to say about it, it's stuck between a rock and a hard place. I wish it was different. I really wish it was trending, but I don't make the markets. I just try to interpret them sideways. But the good news is here, see this blue solid arrow, it is trying to break above this downtrend line once again. False breakouts abundant, so don't bet your mortgage on it just yet. We need to get, of course, above resistance, which is at 390. Forget above 390, we can target next level, 430. Get above 430, we can target 500. Now, if we would break out somewhere in a couple of weeks, then we can target the downtrend line that we've broken from to the downside at around 500. So the same parameters remain in place. We have all this positive divergence going on. I like that. We are making pretty much same lows, but with in the price of Binance Coin, but higher highs in the technical indicators. Now, please note some technical indicators don't work as well in sideways markets because these are momentum indicators. And if momentum is not there, these indicators kind of fail to work. They are really good on strong uptrends or downtrends. But as I always say, divergence is divergence till it's not, but it must be noted. Okay, it must be noted. So far, no reaction yet. We need to clear resistance. Clearly, 360, 365, somewhere around there is holding as support. We break below it, we can easily fall back to the high 200s. We break above 430 with, of course, 390 first, and we can target 500. I can't spell it out more clearly than this. So honestly, it is still a, in my humble opinion, sit on your hands type of environment, or if you want to take the risk, please take small risks. Let's look at Binance Coin trend. The trend here also is not yet friendly. We're still below the moving average, still below the cloud, haven't broken above any of the hurdles it needs to take to get me convinced that a new uptrend has started. How about Bitcoin? What's the big boy doing? Well, it is trying to get back above 40,000. It has been struggling with that like for an eternity, most of the year. We're not there yet. If we can get back above the cloud, it'd be great. What's the traffic light doing? We are currently just above the 10-day moving average. Not even above the 20, not even above the 50, and certainly not above the 200. Yes, the indicators are all trying to move higher, but price needs to react. And boy, it is taking its sweet time. I wish it was really different, but this is an unfortunate environment we're in. Don't ask me why. Some people say, well, it's because of the war in Ukraine, all these things. Sure, it doesn't make price go up or down in the sense that now that I know it. What I do know is this is where we are, and this is what we have to deal with. It's trying to reestablish itself but I don't see a strong reaction yet. We need to get above those breakout levels because we're still stuck in this box, the box between 44,300 and 34,300. That's all we need to know. That's where we're stuck in. Get above it, we can target 54,000 plus. Below it, we can go as low as 24,000. Not sure if we're going to get that low, but because there's very strong support at around 29,000 plus or minus 500, which is the horizontal line. But please remember the trend on a yearly basis is still down. Okay, it is still down. So sideways it is. What a mess. I can't tell you which way it's going to go until we see the breakout, because from Elliott wave perspective, Elliott wave is the most powerful tool there is once you have a nice 1-2-1-2 setup in place or an ABC setup in place to really do the Fibonacci extensions or retraces. Fantastic. It really works. But this type of price action is open to anybody's interpretation. Is this 1 or A? Is this B or 2? Or I have a very hard time labeling anything where I say, oh, this is a high confidence setup. So please bear with me, pun intended, till we see either the breakdown or the breakout. I couldn't care either way because it simply will resolve this problem. We get the breakdown, we get wave 5 in my humble opinion. And as you know, if we get the breakout, we get the larger B wave in my humble opinion. That's really the two options we're stuck with. Let's see if I can find this one. Yes, so this is the downside potential, and this would then be the upside potential. And that's really where we're still struggling with, because we have zero progress. So we have to wait for either to happen. And then, as I showed you on Monday, we can postulate about a lot of other bigger picture type of setups. But for now, that's great because it's simply not doing much. In the sense that's great to do it now. So we have those options available to us if they transpire. If they don't, well, then we'll just crumble it up and throw it away. And it was a nice calculation exercise. Until then, let's keep them on the table. And if we get the breakdown, we know what it is. If we get the breakout, we also most likely know what it is. Ethereum. So what is Ethereum doing? It is trying to establish also a breakout above this initial downtrend line. We're still right here at the cusp. We haven't even gotten above 2750. I really want to see price go above 2750, then above this secondary trend line. There's another one right on top of it, which is right at around 2750 as well. And then we can start gunning for these ideal bounce target zones. 3065 is then next, and above that 3385. Whereas you can see we're still below resistance at 3385, and today we got as high as only 2722. So, we're still above below resistance 2750. So we've gotten even there yet, very close, but not. So look where we are compared to like beginning of March or beginning of February, middle of February, early February. Mid-January, it's very hard to interpret. So I keep this interpretation as is, but also here we know, of course, that if we get the breakdown, that we can move into the 1700s. So it's really time for the bulls to step it up, especially since they have all these divergences to their disposal. Everything is pointing higher. So from that perspective, I'll give the bulls the benefit of the doubt, but I want to see price move higher. And this is still tentative at best. Again, we're not even above 2750. And we've been burned quite often with these false breakouts. And before you figure out it's a breakout, you're back to where you came from, the scene of the crime, as I told you in my previous update. How are we doing with Polygon or Matic? It is also trying to break out of this potential diagonal. This is a down pointing diagonal, which is called a bullish wedge, because when wedge is complete, we should see nice follow through to the upside. Then the minimum target would be about $2, $2.06. But again, we need to get back above those trend lines. We're not doing it yet. Lastly, no, second to last, Solana. Solana also still in this triangular pattern. Yes, it's holding $1.80, but boy, this is being dragged up by its hair, kicking and screaming, because if it breaks down, we can go to the 40s. If we get the breakout above 95, we can target into the 130s. Okay, that would be symmetry breakout. But so far, nothing yet. We're not even above the initial resistance. Maybe resistance is at 90. Could maybe layer it there, but we're really looking at the microest of microest levels. Don't like it. What I do like, of course, is all the positive divergences, but uh, no explicits, but for sake, start reacting. But I don't make the markets. I just have to interpret them. I see all these divergences. I simply tell you what I'm seeing, and based on what I'm seeing, what we can expect. But price has to listen, and price has to break out. Until then, it is simply as anything else, stuck between a rock and a hard place. And we have, of course, our risk levels. So again, you know your risk levels. If you say, well, I'm not going to wait till the breakout, I'm going to go long. All right, go ahead. I don't put a gun against your head to do anything. That's great. That's the way it should be, of course. Nobody's forced to do anything. Then you know what the risk is on a breakdown. So you know what the risk to take. Please take that into calculation with position sizing and stop loss calculations. That's what I point out. If we go below here, then you know what to do. Okay, you have to do the trades. You have to do the punching. I'll tell you what I see. And of course, there can always be false breakouts and breakdowns. Those I cannot prevent. We have to always be cognizant of those. But if we get a false breakout, your stop gets lost and it reverses. All right, small loss, it could have prevented a lot bigger losses. Hindsight is 20/20. If we didn't get the reversal, false breakout or false breakdown, what would happen if we simply did continue lower or did continue higher and you're on the wrong side of the trade? Stops are there to prevent much further losses, all right? If you can prevent yourself sitting through a 50% loss by taking on the chin with a 5 or 10% loss, take the 5-10%, save, preserve capital. Ripple, same here, still holding 0.76, as you can see. It's still above it, but boy, it is like molasses. I don't even know how to interpret this price action. I've shown you a potential Elliott wave count, but we need to see these breakouts. Also, this one is still petering on support, where I go, okay, please, please start breaking out above 0.856. That'd be fantastic. Then we can start 0.956 and 0.156. So that's really all we have for today. Again, if we can move back inside for Avalanche, that'd be good. And we suffered a false breakout, just like we had a false breakdown, potentially. Just as we had a false breakout here, they tend to happen. Look here as well, false breakdown, back above, right? False breakdown, back above. There was a false breakout. So we can have a lot of these falsies. That is very, very possible. But then that's why I always say, focus on the bigger picture. And right now we're below the moving averages, so not yet all that great. Binance Coin, please get above about 390, then get above 430, and then we can target 500 because we're still stuck in this large blue box. Lots of positive divergence, so it better starts reacting on it. Traffic light wise, the day is not over, so I'm not going to change it too much. We need to get above these red arrows. These are the hurdles to take. Same old. Same for crypto, Bitcoin. What did I say? Bitcoin needs to break out. Hasn't done it yet because we're still stuck between a rock and a hard place. Even today, it really doesn't add anything up. Okay, it's again, if you say, well, I'm not going to wait for this dummy on the other side of the line to tell me when I should do an entry, it's fine, but then know where your risk is, right? It's all about risk management. Know where your risk is. The risks are, of course, at the previous lows, right? Those are your risks that you have to look for, with potentially even as low as 300, depending on how much risk you're willing to take. Because the upside potential is there. It's absolutely there, as much as we have the downside potential. Eventually, we'll know. I prefer the upside potential. Ethereum as well, above 2750 would be very nice. Thank you very much. A clear breakout above the trend lines, then we can finally look for about 3,500 plus or minus 100, with the risk at 2,300 targeting 2,700, and of course 2,450 here needs to hold. Very simple. All right, Matrix trying to hopefully get above this downtrend line, get above the moving averages, get above 1.75, and we have a nice breakout from this wedge type of pattern. a wedge type of pattern. Here, look at the S&P 500. This is a wedge, as you can see, and it's starting to break out. That's bullish, and then we should target the start of the wedge. So that is the same here for Polygon, okay? If we break out, we should target ideally the start of the wedge. That's a good target. And last but not least, Solana, also still in this sideways pattern, stuck between 80 and 95. This is how tight the range is. Markets don't go sideways forever. They will resolve themselves. So we know when the breakouts happen, they will probably be powerful and achieve the upside targets. Until then, the downside risk is into potentially the low 40s if we start moving below 80 and then above 65. Okay, so those are the downside risks. Very loud and clear, easy to interpret levels to watch that one can use for one's trading if so desired. And with that, not much to add, of course, to the summaries. Above 90 for AVAX, still sideways for Binance Coin, Bitcoin, also same update. Don't have too much to add. We have all this positive divergence going on. I didn't update Luna. I'll do it on Friday. Continues to stay strong. I would say that we have a pullback, but otherwise, please be patient. I think it will resolve itself one way or another. I prefer higher, always. That's easy to say. Why? Because higher is good times ahead, lower is bad times ahead. And I like good times like everybody else. So let's see what we can get on Friday. I'm cautiously optimistic here because of all the positive divergence we have, and things are not crashing. That's for sure. In light of everything that's happening in the world, things are not crashing. So that is a pretty good sign that when we get those breakouts, we know where to look. And we have our downside risks with the stop levels, so to say, or the breakdown levels. So thank you so much for listening. Take care, trade safe, and see you all on Friday. Never hesitate to contact me if anything is unclear. I'm here to help. Use that to your advantage, okay? Thank you. Take care. Bye.